now that the draft is complete, we've gone through a little bit of off season. Still big free agents to be signed. Who's going to get them? Where are they going to go? Who's going to finish putting the pieces together? Well, we're going to discuss that tonight here on Through the Table. Hello and welcome to another edition of Through the Table here on FTB Sports, May 11th, 2022. I will bring in my partner here, Mr. Donnie Shoemaker.
What's up, Ray? How you doing?
17, hurry up already.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm just ready for football start, but other than that, everything's rolling smoothly. So
awesome, man. Sound a little congested there, man.
Yeah, I had the flu, but it's all good. That's just how it goes. I haven't been out in so long.
Yeah.
And then I went out with my nephews to this museum, and I think I just caught it there because it was a field trip. And there was tons of people there, and I was not expecting that because usually it's not that busy during the week.
Right, yeah. Well,
but
you have fun though?
Yeah, just getting back in the swing of things. Your body just has to get regulated, that kind of stuff again. You're in a closed circuit for as long as we were. So.
Right, yeah, no doubt. Well, my friend, the draft is all wrapped up, right? We still have some big free agents out there. I mean, the most notable free agent out there, of course, is going to be Odell Beckham Jr.
I thought he was going to get signed. I thought there was what team was? I thought he was going to get signed with. I thought he got. I'm sorry. Go on.
No worries. He's going to be 29 when the season starts. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't been signed yet or anything like that. But I'm with the contract with Odell Beckham. I mean, I know this will be talked about with Aaron Judge when he comes up to get his new contract with the Yankees. Odell Beckham, his contract will be different too. Odell Beckham it's a different branding, and his contract requires a little bit more effort than most. But where do you think he?
I mean,
does your gut tell you anything?
No, it was the Seahawks that I was trying to think of. It was with the rumor I heard.
Okay.
But, I know we've been going back and forth, like debating whether the Rams are going to pick him back up. But after they picked up all those other all those other wide receivers, it really didn't look good for him. I know, like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter something like this small, but maybe it does. I know there was like fighting over him being able to keep his number. As far as the Rams are concerned, he wanted to say 3, but Ackler was like, "No, I want 3." So I'm not saying there's no reason to leave a team for that, but sometimes pride gets the best of you. So I don't know if that had anything. I really hope it doesn't. And the guy doesn't seem like one of those people. But of course, your number's your trademark too. Once you get to a certain status, you'd like to keep your number.
Right.
So I get that. I think there's more to be said than that. I think his injury really played into the Rams not picking him back up, just because that happened like 2 times in the last 3 years, and I can understand their hesitation for that. But I think the reason he hasn't been picked up for so long is because he was kind of waiting on that to see if the Rams were going to do anything with him too, because I'm pretty sure he didn't want to leave. You just won the Super Bowl with the team who's gotten better in the offseason as far as I'm concerned about the player pickups they've made.
Yeah, they have.
So I wouldn't think as a player you want to leave that kind of situation. I know he can get paid. I know he's a good wide receiver. It's just finding that team. Going to a team like the Seahawks, I mean, they're struggling with their quarterback. So I don't think it's not going to be in his favor to go to a team like that. Maybe take another 1-year contract, of course, you want more than $1 million because, I mean, that's what you got paid by the Rams, right? It was like $1 million 1-year contract, which, I mean, for the average person, $1 million seems like a lot of money. But these guys are getting multiple $1 million contracts. So, at the height he is it kind of a slap in the face to get $1 million contract? Yes, but at the same time, to get the kind of money he wants, I don't think he's going to be able to find the team, the caliber of quarterback that he deserves or needs to thrive. You got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. But you also, the more rings you have, the more notability you have, the more likely that you can get paid the next year. So, do what's good for you, but think smart too. Don't go to a lesser team where you're not going to be able to shine, and everybody's going to put you back in that category like he was in Cleveland. I mean, people were talking about him being a one-hit wonder.
Here we go again.
When he was in Cleveland, and all of a sudden he comes out and wins the Super Bowl with the Rams, and now he's somebody worth mentioning again. Not saying he wasn't good, but to get the playmaking abilities he was getting, he wasn't finding that in Cleveland. And so,
right.
Yeah, I was saying I would take less money for a better team, but that's just me.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking negotiations are just slow. Like I have nothing, but I have to believe that his people and Les Snead have been in communication and have been talking about. I don't know if Odell just wants vacation and after vacation then we'll pick it up, but like you really haven't heard nothing out of Odell Beckham or anything like that. I just find it like super, super curious.
It is sketchy, or curious, I guess is a better word. What's the recovery time for an injury like that? Like, would he be able to play the first game safely, week 1?
That could have something.
It's right there. It's right on the borderline. Yeah, I mean, February to August is a long time, but I mean, that's a serious injury.
We're talking
you use
what I say
he was.
Receiver. He'll be 29.
He's getting older.
I mean,
he's had 2 injuries on the same leg back to, and so I do get that. There is some hesitation.
Right.
But I
and
don't
the fact
think
it was a non-contact injury too.
I know that is scary. I mean, but they gave Bridgewater another chance, and I think Bridgewater isn't nearly as good. I mean, I know it's 2 different positions, but that guy pretty much almost lost his whole leg on a non-contact injury.
Yeah, and like it always worries you. Oh, I mean, and yes, I know it can happen to anybody on any route. Turning your body to try to catch the ball like that.
Yeah.
It could happen to anybody, but with somebody who's had those injuries, the likelihood of it happening again is definitely higher up. I mean, the good thing was from the surgery that they were able to go in and clean up from his previous surgery.
Yeah.
So I don't know what all that means. I'm not a doctor. Maybe we should try to get a doctor on here one day.
I would think
we could have an injury segment and for like 15 minutes wrap with that cat about injuries.
That'd be funny, right? I think that if anything, that would prolong the healing time. I mean, like you said, I'm not a doctor, but I'd assume if the injury on the same place and if you did even go back in there and fix it, getting that scar tissue cut open again, it's probably that stuff's not going to heal as fast as something that's freshly cut.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I mean, man, let's dive
It is
dive
though. Like
right.
you don't want to be like that kind of caliber player, and then when the draft happened, you're still not picked up. Though it's probably not a good feeling.
That's what I'm saying. You're not hearing anything from him, so it seems like this seems to be all part of the plan, all part of the process. Which that's probably why I'm
Yeah,
heavily thinking the Rams, and I could wrongly be thinking that. It just seems like that's something that goes on with the team you're already with,
yeah.
hearing nothing
Uh,
about it, and then you're just resigning.
no, you're
I
right
mean,
about that.
but
It
like
could be
I have
that
no clue.
he's waiting for his body to heal, and he already knows he's good enough where he can get a spot on a team. You know.
Yeah, I'll send Adam Schefter an email and see if he can
Yeah.
enlighten us, and maybe he'll get him on.
Oh
He'd be
yeah.
the perfect guy
Yeah.
to have here talk about what's going on with the free agents. Well, let's start off here with the Arizona Cardinals. Um, Me personally, um, the whole Kyler Murray situation, you may have a different view, but I they've done all right in the off season. Like they haven't shot the bed or anything, but I know there's people going to focus on the quarterback, but in that division, I think they defense would be somewhere where I still feel if they can go out in free agency and get a good caliber player, I think the Arizona Cardinals could still deal with another cornerback. They drafted one,
Yeah.
but now that you're talking about a rookie guy, and that division has threats all over the place at the wideout position, and I I I, I think I don't know how much it would mean anything to Arizona's season because we'll talk about it next week after the schedule gets released when we go through the schedule and say what we think. The the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a hard time in that division if they can't slow down, you know, guys,
No,
especially in their
you're
own
right.
division.
No, that's true.
So I
I
think if
do
they
like
can,
The Marquise Brown pickup though that they had. That's definitely gonna help the offense. I know you're talking about
dude, they've
defense, but he really didn't have anybody to
right.
go to this last year. So that'll definitely
Yeah,
help
you,
him.
you you think Marquise Brown can be that
I think
guy
he has
for
talent.
them,
I
or
mean,
you think he's just like a 2 or 3?
no, I think he has talent. Do I think he is seen like an elite talent? That's yet to be seen. Just because I never really believed in him more, you know, and I still don't. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about that. We're
So you're not
talking.
judging Marquise Brown too harshly
No, I
because
mean,
you don't feel the
apparently
quarterback.
Murray's been asking for this cat for a couple of years now to do a trade to have him move over there. So I don't know if they had some past connection, like in college or something like that. I'm not too familiar with that, but I know that he did want him to throw the ball to him. So now he's got that, and that'll help him stay in the pocket because he did a lot of moving around last year, and that's not what you really want to see. Go for
Wait,
it.
did they play at Oklahoma together?
I don't know. I can't say yes or no, but I only assume that's the reason why.
They they I think I read. Yeah, I think they might have played at Oklahoma
Okay.
together, and that would make a lot of sense. Um, I know, of course, we don't know Kyler Murray. We've never talked to him. I have no idea how his thought process is. But do you think he'll stand firm on, I want to play this year on a new deal, regardless of what the GM goes out and gets for me?
Um, I don't know. I just think with all that stuff that happened last year, I think you just kind of got to roll out. Because I mean, you're this.
You right? You kind of made your bed, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have played better, there wasn't such off-field drama with you or surrounding you. Like once you let the media into your displeasure about your team, you lose all ability to go and talk to the franchise. Because the
You
one
really
thing the
do.
franchise isn't going to do is bow down to a player. You need to remember who runs the show. We do, not you.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I get it. It's the players that make the game, but they're not signing the paychecks. I
You're one of
mean,
53, bro.
yeah. So
Yeah.
reel it back in, and I mean that was just a bad play on his part. I don't think he should have done that or acted like that. But I mean, that's in the
Or
past.
said what he said, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Uh, whatever was said had been said, and his agent had made no bones about Kyler Murray's stance on
Yeah.
this upcoming season. But they go out, like you said, and get a buddy of his.
Which is what he
Um,
wanted. So they gave him. He should feel like that's a win because they gave up a draft spot for that. So it's not like it was just
right.
like petty change. They gave up something worth giving up for him to give him a player that he wanted. So he should, feel like he got something. Maybe,
Thank you, sir. May I have some more?
yeah, just buckle down now, play the game, show that you are the quarterback that people thought you were going to be. Because I mean, he's not bad. He had a lot of problems. I mean, injuries do play into that, and he didn't have anybody to throw to. He scrambled a lot this year. I mean, the offensive line really wasn't holding those pockets like they needed to. Like you said, their defense was just horrible. And so, I mean,
Yeah,
of course, when your defense is horrible, who's going to be on the field all the time? Your offense. And so, I
their
mean,
offense.
you can only sustain. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You can only
yeah,
sustain so long before you get wear down. So when that happens, of course, you're going to start losing games.
yeah. No kidding. Um, but yeah, I thought they've had a good offseason. I think if they can bolster up their defense, um, look at their cornerback position, like because I mean I don't know if that guy is out there who can cover Debo two
Probably
times a
not. I think
year,
that'd just be,
but
yeah.
you
I
got to
think you
do
need a good
something.
corner and a free safety, man. Just,
Oh, dude, right.
Um, but I think they're a decent enough team to make the playoffs. They really are. I think they need more structure. That's what it comes down to. Uh,
Right. Yeah,
and
and Pro
hopefully this.
Bowler James Bradbury got released. So he's the guy that I think Arizona or, anybody with cornerback issues should definitely take a good look at him. I mean, he's going to be 29 when the season starts.
And that's a hard position to fill.
It really is. And I mean, he Pro Bowl in 2020. So he's not that far removed from having a decent year. Um, the Falcons, I mean, I think they've had okay-ish off season. It hasn't been uh spectacular. I think they need to address the defensive front
Yeah.
still because they have nobody really proven on that defensive line. And it's not like I mean, there's some good. Jadeveon Clowney is still
Yeah.
out there.
I just feel like that guy's really injury prone, man. He's good, but like he gets
Clowney,
hurt a lot, a lot, a
dude,
lot.
and he had so much talent coming out of college,
And I don't
man.
know if that's because you're going for it so hard or what, but it seemed like right after he got that first injury, it seemed like he'd be back 2 weeks and he'd get hurt again. And like that,
Right.
like we always say, it's a wear and tear in your body. But the thing
Yeah,
what I think was funny with Atlanta, I think their cap space, the availability to build a better team wasn't there because Matt Ryan's he was getting $50 million a year. That's a fourth of your cap space.
right. Yeah,
You know
he's
what I'm
getting
saying? So,
changed.
that's definitely going to open some doors to get them new players and kind of start to first find their team in a better way. I mean, it was Matt Ryan that was holding them back, which was crazy that they paid him that much to begin with, especially
Oh,
after it was
yeah,
a
that
losing
contract,
season
dude.
that they signed that contract with him. And yeah, he went to the Super Bowl that year, but that infamous Super Bowl. I mean, but it wasn't good for Atlanta, and they've suffered for several years because of that. But I think now that there's going to be more money in the pot, you'll be able to see better players coming into Atlanta.
Right, yeah, they don't have that Matt Ryan paycheck. They don't have that Julio Jones paycheck.
Insane
So
amount of money
they've
that they spent
opened
to these
up,
kids.
yeah, by not retaining them or getting rid of them, not re-signing them. Yeah. So how long does this rebuild for Atlanta take?
I mean,
It
I would say it would take a
all
while, man,
depends.
but I think there's just so much research out on players now. Teams can really dial in to the kind of player that they need based on the value or the money that they can spend. Because you even saw in this
Right.
year's draft, this was probably one of the better drafts that I've seen. And I mean, not that I'm have ever been too deeply involved in the drafts, but you could really tell these people were pinpointing their decisions. And I mean, I know the scouts and stuff like that, and it's always been like that. I just think the availability of information on even players that people aren't really highly sought after, just for some reason or another, they don't play at a high caliber college or something, but it doesn't mean you're not good. I mean, sometimes stuff just happens. Off-field stuff prevents you from getting into these bigger schools, and being able to see stuff like that now more available. I think you're going to start seeing a better class of player getting picked
Yeah.
at a more rapid
Because
pace.
they'll know how to develop them, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Because the data we have is insane. If you've ever watched any segments of Next Gen Stats that ESPN does, the things they pull out are incredible. They'll give you a guy makes a big play, Next Gen Stats, you'll see it next week, and there's a catch probability, listed there.
Yeah.
And it's dude, how do you guys figure out those?
Well, statistics is math, but I mean that's why it's so accurate, because it's based on a formula, and all they do is plug in this information into this formula that's that's more accurate than not.
Right. It's just, how do you, as a general manager or as a scout, assign your particular value to said stats? Because there's still old school guys out there
They're always going to say
I
the
don't
eye
care what the
test. The eye
stats
test.
say.
Yeah,
The eye test, man.
and I
What
get
do
that.
I see?
There is a truth to that too, but how many guys really
You got to
can
put
say
them
they
together,
have
right?
the eye to give the correct eye test? That's the problem with that. And not everybody's a football savant.
Right.
So just sometimes you gotta say, I don't know exactly what I need to know, and that's why you can fall back onto those stats. Because that old school way of thinking, that kind of eye test kind of person, that's dying away. They don't teach people those skills anymore, really. At least is my thought process would be, because everything's getting down to being ones and zeros.
No kidding. No kidding, man. Yeah, but the Falcons, I mean, there's not
I
a
mean,
whole lot you could do.
not this
But
year. I mean, I'd say within the next 5 years, because they've
yeah,
always had not underrated, but just a defense that really could stop teams if they actually came out and tried to play. But they were just right there.
right.
Now they're going to have the ability to, like we just said, pull in more, defensive players that cost more.
Yeah, and as I know, it's a counter argument, but as Matt Ryan and Julio Jones coming down had lost their effectiveness, that defense, the holes were found.
No, you're right.
And that defense over the year has gone downhill. And I mean, one thing about the Falcons was they they played defense. But the longer they were out there, the more they got exposed.
I think
They have issues
you're right about
on
that.
defense. And right now, the best way is to get somebody that can get to the quarterback.
True
I would
that.
recommend. And I would say the same thing about this team we're going to discuss now in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think they could use a big name pass rusher to get to the ball. I know now
Definitely.
they have a hole at wide receiver, as we already discussed. But
I mean, honestly, I'd give up Lamar and use
dude,
that.
like that is not gonna happen.
I know that's not a popular opinion. I just feel like, I mean, I just feel like the organization is teetering on that thought too, and either you need to go for it or just say like, "This is our guy." And I know it seems like they're saying this is our guy, but I don't think he's performed to the ability that, I mean, because everybody was like, him and Pat Mahomes are going to be like the two elite quarterbacks, and like they were holding him up to like a
Yeah.
Mahomes caliber.
And then they
For
changed the name
like
following year.
Yeah, and then about the third year, everybody that kind of quieted down. They gave it to him again that second year because he got hurt, right? And so everybody was like, "Well, he got hurt, so we won't actually ever know." Second year, he got hurt again, and then that third year, it didn't happen, and so everybody was just like, "All right, that he's not going to be the same kind of caliber quarterback." But they have a huge team overhaul that needs to happen. Lamar was not happy about Brown leaving. He like posted something on social media about it.
I could see him not.
Because they were finally starting to like connect. Like, I mean, he was the best receiver that they had. He's a decent wide receiver. So now they got nobody again for him to throw to. They're telling him to stay in the pocket, not to scramble as much, but you don't have anybody to help him. You don't have a running back. They've flip-flopped on running backs since Steve Smith Sr. Left. They've struggled finding the running back, and it's gonna probably continue this year. I don't see it changing this year. I mean, I don't even know who is running the ball for him at this current point.
I mean, because of the division they happen to be in, I probably still look at them probably finishing second in that division.
Well, there was some rebuild in that division, but I think everybody kind of like did fairly well in the draft in that division.
I thought overall most teams did pretty good. I was harsh on New England.
Yeah.
From their draft. But outside of that, my only issue was I can't believe
that guy that got pulled out real early.
Dude, they
whatever.
trade down in the draft to just take a third or fourth rounder.
I was gonna comment something when you said that the other week, last week. But if there's ever a team that picks players that you don't know for sure they're gonna be good,
you don't need to tell
England.
me, man.
So I mean, I'm just saying you can't. I'm not gonna speak his name. He just signed a 10-year, $375 million
for Fox.
Yeah.
For after he retires.
Yeah, that guy, man. If he's not winning, he's winning.
Dude, like.
Good for him, though, man. Good for him. Straight up.
Oh, right.
I'm not hating on the G at all, man.
No,
he did it right. But like, dang, man. Yeah, no, he's not even tripping about it. I couldn't believe that. I mean, I can't believe it. I always felt like that's something he would do. I mean, why not? You've been in the league for that long. I mean, you're a household name. People that don't even watch football know who he is.
I know, and I'm tired of seeing him. Like,
you thought he was just gonna ride away.
I would love. I thought he was just gonna ride off, man. But no, he wants to stick around. Oh, dude, freaking Tom.
But maybe Bill's
getting,
senile in his old age, and they just pulled the trigger on stuff. But I don't know. They had to see something special in the cat to to do that because wasn't he supposed to be like some like crazy high note, like the 5th round draft or something?
Is 3rd or 4th round.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if Bill just really
Really
wanted that
wanted
guy,
him?
and he didn't want to wait. He said, "I want him now. Fuck
Yeah.
that. I don't want to wait now."
Yeah.
And so they did.
Yeah.
If there is a team, like you said, that can use draft capital and knows how to pick players, it is that franchise.
Yeah.
I don't care. Go Bills. We're still better. I don't care. But yeah, with Baltimore's question marks on their defensive line, I think it would be very beneficial if they could go out and get an edge rusher. Like we said, Jadeveon Clowney, he's still out there. Melvin Ingram, he's still out there. Akeem Hicks, I know he's 32.
But these are still well-known names. It's not like they're not. These are still. And you know what's good about these veteran cats, man, is they bring a lot of experience in. So you get one of these veteran cats in, you get the rookie or first, second. I mean, not rookie. Yeah, rookie or second, third-year guy. You can bring them in and teach them.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's plenty of edge rushers out there. So like these teams that could use an edge rusher, like what are you doing? Or do these guys have so many phone calls they're just trying to get through them all?
I mean, maybe. I think. I mean, to be good, to be a defensive player, and like at your, it takes a lot of skill. I'm not saying that the offensive players don't have a lot of skill, but you gotta be aware of yourself and aware of what all these other opponents are doing too. And I just think like those positions are very hard to fill.
Right.
Like, you can get a guy in there, but is he going to do what, and they do a lot of switching, and that's hard for those guys who have learned a position their whole careers, and then you want them to switch. I mean, it's sometimes they just can't.
Right. And you feel
You
like,
know?
hey, if you had depth, you wouldn't have to be switching all over the place.
Yeah.
You could stay at your position. My Buffalo Bills, I thought we've done all right. We got a good corner in the draft. We're going to miss Hughes. He signed with the Texans, so thank you for your service. The
Damn,
716
with
will
the
miss
Texans,
you.
huh?
He went to the
That sucks,
Texans.
man.
Heck yeah, man.
Was
But
is that something you wanted to do? Y'all just didn't have enough money, or?
I'm going with, warmer climate and, Houston
I
sucks,
guess.
but I mean, Texas ain't so bad.
Yeah, but the Bills are like in the running.
Oh no, we're the front runners, man. No, we're not in the running. We are the running.
We'll
I know
see.
Cincinnati and 15 other teams.
You have
Well,
the
14 other
you
teams.
definitely making the playoffs for sure.
Oh, dude, we're winning the division again.
Yeah,
But winning the division don't matter.
it's definitely gonna be harder for you to win the division this year, though. Than it has been the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah. But of course, me and for everybody who watched the show during the season, my gripe, and it's still my number one concern, is offensive linemen. I think we could still stand to prove that offensive line. We brought in an additional running back. So,
Which made no sense to me.
hey, I mean,
Now you got what, 3 mediocre running backs instead of 2?
3 mediocre.
I think Singletary was really trying to put it on there at the end.
Yeah, I don't think Singletary, Moss were horrible, but
I don't think Moss is your answer. Who'd you bring in?
When we drafted the
You
cat
drafted
out
a
of
running back?
Georgia,
Okay. So
we brought in a couple running backs. I don't think running back was our issue. I think the
I don't
issue
think
was
so
that
either. I think
offensive
you're moving the ball just
line.
fine with your 2 running backs.
Our defense is stacked, but I think our offensive line, if we could shore that up, and
Well, I was led to believe that guy from Georgia's pretty good, right? Yeah.
he's decent. He's decent. I don't have gripes about him. Being in the SEC, I got to see quite a bit, and he was in the national title game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good pick, good guy. We should be fine, but offensive line, man, because if something happens and we don't
Yeah.
do it, everybody's going to point to that line. I guarantee it.
So did they keep Moss? Because they'll probably keep Singletary over Moss, I would assume. I would, I don't know, but it
I
seems it always just seemed
I
like
really don't know
Moss
what
was
they're
like kind of
thinking, but somebody's going to
losing
be
their
out of a
job.
job.
Yeah.
Somebody's out of a job,
Yeah.
and very, very rarely is it your new draft pick. And Renee, we won't be fine when you run into the Rams. I'm sure the bookies would agree with you 100%. The Carolina Panthers, bud. How have you? I know their year wasn't good. We don't know about their freaking quarterback. What they're
I
going to do
mean,
there.
I think they were worse off after the season than they were during the season now. I I don't know. I just don't think I don't think they're going to be a team worth mentioning this year. It feels weird to say that because the Panthers have always been kind of like they were fairly good there for quite some time, and then they slowly went downhill. And now we're just looking at them like, I mean, Drew Lock's your quarterback. I know they draft somebody. Who they draft? I don't know. I thought it was I thought they drafted somebody to maybe potentially like replace him, but I'm not too sure.
Carolina, right?
I know that they needed a lot of work. I mean, you had trouble with your offensive line. I mean, and so I mean that's why Russell Wilson got so. Not that he wasn't good on his feet, but I mean the dude was just all over the place all the time. And you lose a quarterback like that and pick up Locke. There had to be some reason for that. I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't know because didn't he have something in his contract saying that he couldn't trade unless they traded him or something like that?
Who now?
Wilson.
Oh,
We're not
he
talking
had
about the
to.
Seahawks. We're talking about the Panthers.
Uh,
Sorry. Ignore everything I just said. I do know that the Panthers just have struggled. They
that's
struggled
right.
last.
They drafted Matt Carroll,
Okay.
quarterback out of Mississippi.
Yeah, I knew they drafted some kind of quarterback though. I didn't know that. So hopefully that'll be good for them. I don't have high hopes for them this year.
Yeah. No.
I mean, this is probably the worst they've looked since I really started paying attention to football.
Dude, yeah. And this is another team I think that could immensely benefit from an edge rusher. And like we've already discussed, there are plenty of options in that department.
Everything good?
Yeah. Oh, fine. But yeah. Sorry. Defensive line, I think. Again. But hey, can you give me one quick second,
Okay.
and we'll be right back with everybody. I'll be right back. All right. Back. Sorry about that. All taken care of. Everything is good. But yeah, I say edge rusher for Carolina, but it's a many things that they need to fill, I think. And like you said, don't really have the too high hopes for Carolina Panther fans. Sorry, but but they all got jobs to do. Maybe they can bring in, like we've already mentioned, Clowney or a good edge rusher like that to help put some pressure. Because if you put pressure on the quarterback, kind of makes defense a little bit easier because then the quarterback's rushing to get things done. Um, Another team I really don't have high hopes for um, would be Chicago.
Yeah.
I know they did some
They,
offensive linemen
yeah. So they
in the
got rid of their
draft.
defense. So now they're going to be struggling on both sides of the ball.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Um, they. I don't know, what would you think? When you look at Chicago, like
I mean, I think they
what
need to
would
get
be
a
your
quarterback.
biggest
I think they
concern?
need to get running backs.
Quarterback,
I
running
mean,
backs.
then obviously strengthen your defense. You let go of Mac this season, right? So obviously you weakened your defense.
Right.
Fortunately, you didn't really get much in return, and so now you're just kind of sitting there with weaker defense in your offense that you haven't been able to wrangle in quite some time. I mean, what Trubisky was throwing the ball for him for, I think up until like midseason last year, right? And so now it's kind of like, who are we going to get to throw the ball? At least somebody we can get there to stay more than a whole year.
Right.
And they definitely need running backs, and they have no wide receivers. So,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
like, not
Wide
even one I
receiver.
could mention.
Like they drafted one,
Yeah.
uh, but it was late. What 71st pick,
And that's not, I mean, I'm not saying
14th
that's not
receiver
bad,
taken.
but, it's not looking good for the Bears.
Yeah, because I don't think Odell Beckham is going to
But they're
Chicago.
not an Odell Beckham away from salvaging anything. It's not like they
Right.
get like a top wide receiver that they're going to the playoffs this year.
Right. What about a Landry or Will Fuller? Did you see either one of
I
them
saw. I'd
land
feel
in
like.
Chicago?
I mean, I wish Landry would stay on the Browns. I mean, but I think like a Landry, and then if you got one of those other two guys, if you got Landry and Fuller together, I think there'd be a good match, or the opposite way. Because I mean, Landry's really good, like I always say, but you always like to mention the fact that it's like for 10 yards, and I get that he doesn't catch those long passes, but that's a good relief for a quarterback that it isn't comfortable, um, or isn't able to sit in the pocket as well as long as he needs to or wants to. And I think with the Bears, they're not going to have that time for a huge pocket for very long. So I mean, I think that would be good. Either that or get a tight end. But I think it's
Good
easier
check
to find
down.
a wide receiver than it is a good tight end. Uh,
Gronk's out there.
Yeah, like Gronk's can go to the Bears. Gronk could pretty much go to any team he wanted to, honestly.
Dude, right?
I
No
mean,
kidding, dude.
I don't think he's not going to go to a team that's not making the playoffs. At least I wouldn't see that. I mean, he really should be retired at this point. I mean, as far as like injuries and like living with your body the rest of your life after football. But I get it. Like it's in the moment and you're having fun and you're enjoying life. But I don't see him going to a team. I never thought he'd be on a team that wasn't Tom Brady led.
Oh,
Truthfully, um,
right.
surprised
Yeah,
that
they've been
Tampa took.
buddies They've been buddies for forever, man.
It's gonna be weird seeing him on a different team.
Oh, no doubt, won't it?
I mean, I think.
But we're getting a lot of that now, so we're kind of getting
No,
more
I know,
used
and these
to
guys
it.
are getting older too, and it's not like they're not going to be friends. And they get it because realistically, I don't see Tom playing that much longer. I think he could have retired this year, and that would have been fine. But I think he was just mad with the way that last game played out, because he really pretty much had it, but he didn't get the ball back.
Right.
So, but that's the number one rule when you play Tom Brady: is don't give him the ball last
Don't
under 2
give him
minutes.
the
Like you
ball
don't
back.
do it. You
Yeah,
just don't
don't.
do it.
Well, speaking of the game and winning it or not winning it, Cincinnati Bengals. I thought they've done pretty good
I
this
think that whole
offseason
team
too.
is very nicely put together. They're a young team. That's what I really like about Cincinnati. It's like they're really good. They're pretty outstanding players, and for them to be all so young, they're all under 25. I think Burrow is just now 25, and the dude's a pimp. I mean, I like that team. I think a very solid team. I mean,
They could probably do with the tight end.
their tight end he has a weird name. I can't ever pronounce his name.
Well, he's not signed
They didn't sign him
after
again?
2022.
Oh shoot. Well, I
They'll be
know he was
without
really like he's a big name tight end. Well, right, starts with
no.
an H, but it makes like a weird sound.
Yeah, it's the same thing with their wide receiver core.
I mean,
They have a whole bunch of them,
they
but
got
nobody's
Chase,
signed.
and
Nobody's
Chase is
signed
new,
after
so
20.
he's still got at least 3 more years, 2 more years on his contract.
Right.
And then who
Yeah.
was the other guy that they had? I think I mean, their main team though is Mixon, Chase, and Burrow, and they got one other cat, and he got over 1,000 yards this year too. Dang it, man! That's going
I
on.
know who it is, dude.
I mean, he's a popular name too.
I know when I saw it or saw his face. But no, I think they've done a really, really good job, and there's not too much to do for them. They look
Higgins,
good.
T. Higgins.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's
Okay.
pretty. And he's pretty on. Tyler Boyd was the one I was thinking of, but I knew there was another one. Boyd's
Yeah.
like their number 3. And Higgins was pretty good. I mean, I think that
No doubt.
I don't think those guys would have any other reason to leave than they can't come to agreement as far as money is concerned. I don't think I
Right.
think they're on a team that you'd want to be on. You wouldn't want to leave unless for some reason you think another winning team is going to be better. Like if you could move to like the Chiefs or the Bills or a team like
A little
that.
bit warmer climate.
Yeah.
Well, except for the Bills part.
I was like, the Bills are going to be the coldest, right?
Yeah.
But and then it snows in Kansas too, I believe. Not as long.
Oh yeah.
Or as
Yeah.
heavy.
They're very similar to the weather that I have right here in Iowa,
But
which
I
we hit
think that team was
90s
pretty
today.
solidly built. I mean, you can always improve your team with defense. Their offense is outstanding, so I wouldn't see a point of bettering it, or if even if you could, I mean, it would be a risk at this point trying to find somebody as good. I mean, because you're not going to know for sure if they're just as good. Because Chase came out and he's probably the best wide receiver,
They told us,
wide receiver that is
yeah,
playing the game right now.
and they
Yeah,
tried
I
to
mean,
tell us about him before the season started. It after camps.
he'll
They were
definitely
like,
be top
"Watch
3
this
wide
kid.
receiver this year, I believe.
He's thinking he's freaking good."
I mean, I guarantee Cup's going to win it again. I mean, as far as being number 1, but I mean, he definitely has that chance to be number 2.
He's a
You know,
good wide
he's good.
receiver. As long as they can keep Burrow
Burrow can throw the ball.
clean and Burrow can hit him,
Yeah.
they'll be okay. I mean, they're going to have a hard time against Buffalo, but
We'll see.
That's their problem, not mine. uh, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh man, that team just looks like a dumpster fire right now. Have you read all those reports about like, are they going to trade Mayfield? Are they not? Are they going to let him go? All this jazz. I mean, honestly, they're going to have to let somebody go because they have a bunch of quarterbacks on their team.
Yeah, they brought in all these quarterbacks.
So it's like obviously somebody's not staying there. You know, because Watson's going to get the show if he's playing. You know, I don't think Mayfield is gonna stick around to be second fiddle. I don't see the purpose of that. I mean, he could go start on another team.
Pick, man.
Yeah, I mean, he could go start on another team, a lesser team for sure. They need wide receivers, man. As far as their defense is concerned, I mean, of course, players like the corner and stuff like that we've talked about, you know, that's always going to be an improvement for them. But I think that their defense played adequately this year. Not outstanding, but adequately enough. I just think they're really, really struggling offensively this season. They've tried to focus around the run in the last several years, and, I mean, it's worked up to this point. And now I don't know if it's just because they have absolutely nobody to throw to for some relief this past season or what, but it even seemed like Chubb and Hunt weren't running as good as they ran the previous years. And Chubb's one of my favorite running backs, you know, and Kareem Hunt, man, the dude's got talent up the yin yang. I mean, if it wasn't for that off-field trouble, really he'd probably be on a super elite team right now, you know. But I think they need to get somebody to throw the ball to, because you can't run every play and expect the defense not to know what you're doing. I mean, you can only run down their throats so many times before they're not letting it happen.
Yeah, you need to try. Excuse me. You need to try to re-sign Landry. Like,
the thing is, Landry's not going to be getting you those huge points. Like we're saying, he's a safety net. He's not somebody who's going to get you downfield. You needed that deep threat like Odell was, but you never utilized him like you could. I don't know if that's because Mayfield and him were connecting or something, or does he not have the ability to throw the ball that far? I mean, I don't think that's the case. I've seen him throw the ball relatively far. I mean, not with great accuracy, but I mean, you know, I'm not saying that to be rude, but I mean, he's not dining it in like an Aaron Rodgers, you know. I mean, that's not happening. But you can get these wide receivers that you really don't have to be super accurate. Just get it in this little zone, and he's going to do the rest. And they haven't been able to find that, and I think they struggled with that immensely. As good as you are at one aspect of the game, if you rely solely on that aspect, you're only going to be able to get so far. Maybe you'll get through a season of that, maybe. But they're going to, by mid-season, usually these teams that are doing really good one-dimensionally get shut down the second half of the season because there's enough game tape on how they're functioning that these teams aren't going to let that happen anymore. You need somebody to throw the ball to. Landry, it would be cool to see him stay there. I mean, for his sake. I don't think he's leaving football. He'll get a job somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just he's not going to help them with their wide receiver situation right now, especially because he's been on their wide receiver core for the last several years.
Right.
They need I don't know where their draft picks went, but I doubt it went to wide receivers, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, they they got some new defensive linemen,
which is good
to try to replace Clowney, but you're not going to replace Clowney. He was so good. Let me see here. What did they do? They did bring in a wide receiver, drafted.
Okay.
Yeah, they drafted a running back,
Which isn't
wide
something I necessarily,
receiver.
because I heard that they're having some trouble with Hunt about maybe Hunt's not going to sign with them again because he signed a relatively small contract with them when he came back in. Uh, and they gave him a chance to come back in the NFL because they
I
weren't going
thought so.
because he almost lost his chance to be in the NFL. Um, but he's also good enough where he could get his own starting position where he wasn't sharing that. But they were the best tandem in football there. They have super strong running backs. They were getting each got like 16 touchdowns 2 seasons ago plus. And they were sharing the workload. I mean, so I don't know how much bringing a running back in unless you're just not believing. That's what that tells me is you're not believing. And I know you gotta you fill the spots and get new people in and train them and stuff like that. But Chubb and Hunt didn't look like they were going anywhere. But that kind
Right.
of tells me maybe there's something going on I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think wide receiver, they gotta hope one of their draft picks work out on that defensive line to help Myles Garrett get to the quarterback. And if those guys don't work early free agency during the season, like you'll see Cleveland go to get an edge rusher, but by that time it'll be too late for these big names that
Yeah.
we had already mentioned. But I say since we got through all the way through the C's, going in alphabetical order, be a good place to stop. Um, Sorry I was late, people. Out running errands and had to put in a AC unit. Getting hot here in Iowa, 90 freaking
Also,
degrees. Feels like 103, man.
what'd you say? What temperature it was?
Dude, don't give me that.
I just want to hear what you said. I'm serious.
90. It's like
Okay.
93 and had to feel like
Come visit
103.
me, man. Come visit me. It's broken 100 the last 2 days.
Oh, man. No, man. No, not me.
Yeah.
So I would say probably in 2 weeks we'll pick up and we'll continue this conversation. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys. We have some Cowboy friends. Maybe we can have a couple, maybe some special people might drop in, say hi. Um, but next week, definitely, because the schedule releasing tomorrow. I know it
Nice.
got leaked. The NFL leaked its own parts of its own schedule last night. And they're
Oh,
like,
dang,
hey,
how that
everything's
happened?
being leaked. Yeah, everything's being leaked. Then you go to the NFL.com, and right there is everything that was leaked. And I'm
Yeah,
like, they're putting this out there.
yeah.
I saw the Bills and we have a CBS protected. Um, is it the Bills Chiefs for a 3:25 kickoff? And then I saw we're playing on Thanksgiving again, but it won't be. It's
Nice.
not official till tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and then next week,
Thanksgiving games are always my favorite, man.
oh, dude, they're good. It's just all day. It's football, man.
Yeah,
It's like football and food all
yeah.
day, and the family, and the family.
I guess,
The
right?
most
I was
important
playing.
part of the
Yeah, no,
holidays,
it is, man.
right? But Donnie, my friend, it's always wonderful to talk to you about the
Thanks for having me.
NFL, man.
Yeah, man. It's
You
always
getting
fun.
excited, ready for fantasy?
Oh yeah, I am ready to win again this year.
Ah, that's what I want to hear. Awesome. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. FTB Sports Through the Table. Next week, we'll go through the schedule, try to do wins and losses for that, um, and then see where everybody winds up on the table according to what we think, which we'll just make it that's the way it is. Then you guys won't even have to watch the NFL this year. We'll already have it predicted for you. But
Yeah, don't watch it. So if we say
everybody,
something wrong, you won't even know.
dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh shit!
But everybody, thank you much, and we will see y'all next week. Donnie again. Thank
Thanks,
you, my
Brett.
brother.
Y'all have a good one.
Everybody, hey, you too. Take care. Everybody, have a great day.